Hello and welcome back to Wake Up with Dr. Cheryl, Wealth Transformation. Here's a few one-liners to make you smile. Politicians and diapers have one thing in common. They should both be changed regularly for the same reason. We have enough gun control. What we need is idiot control. Okay, that's enough. Wake up to your unconditional love inside of yourself and to share with others. Wake up to paying attention to what you think and feel about yourself and your money. Wake up to knowing in your mind and heart that you have more than enough for all your needs, and the universe, God, Spirit, will provide the rest. Wake up to trusting your higher self. Wake up to just being happy from the inside out. Wake up to letting go of all the old hurts and pains. Wake up to forgiveness, forgiving yourself and forgiving others, to set you free. Wake up to paying attention to every thought you have. Is it negative or positive? Wake up to letting go of the negative, self-defeating thoughts. We all need reminding of all these wake-up terms until it is in our subconscious mind and embedded in your heart. Wake up to being in total alignment with your mind and heart, the yin and the yang. This is the second part of a two-part conversation with Dr. Kevin, and continuing our conversation that we started from last week's show. Dr. Kevin, you're here. Yay!
Well,
and especially since you came from hot Phoenix, Arizona, which you came here and it's hot San Rafael, about maybe 80% more humidity. Anyway, it's great to have you here, because you have a plethora and wonderful information to share with us and our viewers tonight. You know our theme around healing the relationship with money, but I love your purpose, one of your purposes and passions, and that is managing the gift.
It must hurt to be in your head. You never stop thinking.
Gee, where did that come from, huh, Dr. Kevin?
Now, at this point, I was doing no self-application work, and that didn't come for many years.
Yeah. Well,
I worked
everything has its time, right?
I worked with ADHD for, I would say, 4 or 5 years before somebody could convince me that I might want to examine the possibility I had it myself.
Let me ask you this, because I can relate. If you can give like a little capture of what ADHD is, just so we could, just summary of what that is, so that the viewers know what we're really talking about. Because, well, either some people might be in denial, or they might think, well, do I really have this, or know.
Well, there's a few different things. And what I'm going to say is that when it came into my practice, it came in like blazing guns, because within 6 months of that first date, over 40-50% of my practice was ADHD, and it wasn't because I was going out after them, and it was adults, it was kids, it was business professionals. They heard that I might have a solution. They heard I had a different way of looking at it. And one of the early things I came about was, we're talking the late 90s, and it was just called ADD at that point.
Right.
And it was ADD, as I call it now, ADHD, is part of the evolutionary process, broadening the bandwidth of humanity.
Wait a minute here. I want you to say that again, because it's attention deficit disorder and
hyperactivity disorder. Yeah.
So I want you to say that again, what you just said.
That which we call ADHD is part of the evolutionary process
of humanity,
broadening the bandwidth of humanity. And they were the architects of the 20th century. This was Einstein, Edison, Graham Bell,
all the geniuses
Ford.
out there. Hello.
And I identified it as an evolutionary process because we've always had people that seem to have been functioning on the outside of normal humanity here and there, and these, like Leonardo da Vinci or Aristotle or these type of people. And in this case, We're now talking about something where early to mid 1800s, they started coming in increasing numbers that were identifiable. And that's what shifted it as an occasional occurrence to something that was a process. And when we look at ADHD, first of all, it's a misnomer. Attention deficit disorder is a misnomer because it is not that they cannot pay attention. People with ADHD have two settings. They either multitask or they hyperfocus.
Yeah.
Hyperfocus turns them into what I refer to as the instant expert category. When you become, your brain engages that something has worth, has value, is of interest, has taken the curiosity pill, said, I want to know about it. It will study, it will research, it picks it up, it looks at it, it turns it around, it goes in, it goes out. And because the ADHD brain literally thinks differently. You remember what Apple's little tagline was? Think different.
Yeah, well, that's Steve Jobs right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
So they literally think differently. And because they think differently, they're better inventors, problem solvers. They can look and miss and see the point on the line that the other two ways, traditionally thought of ways of thinking, very analytically or very abstractly, didn't cover because it was a hybrid. I would say pick it up like a snow globe and they look at it in their mind. And their mind literally plays with the information like it's Play-Doh, or like a 2-year-old might play with food. Like want to roll in it, play with it, look at it, invent it, reinvent it. And they want to share it. Who's never seen a 2-year-old playing in their food and picking up and saying, here, and giving you some, as the tomato sauce and the spaghetti is dripping down their hand.
And on the floor.
Okay. Yeah, and on the floor. Yeah, no, I don't want any, thanks. For you.
Yeah.
The ADHD mind, once it connects to a piece of information, it's either going to improve it, create with it, co-create with it, reinvent it, do something, or it's going to teach it. It's going to share it. And so when I talk about ADHD, I talk about these qualities that they tend to blow by as unimportant, like this ability to interact with information in this way, to think differently, that the highly intelligent, highly creative, thinking outside the box, very justice-oriented. And sometimes people don't know what I mean when I say justice-oriented, but the justice-oriented piece of it is sometimes the ADHD child or adult will stand up for themselves. But guaranteed, if there's somebody
It took me a long time to do that. I learned how to do it. But
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't be doing this show if I hadn't gotten through my blocks that I had.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you know.
But let me ask you this other question. When you were a little kid, if there was somebody that you took interest in, if they were your friend, or somebody that you, for whatever reason, took any kind of ownership or connection to, and somebody was picking on them, how quickly would you fly to their defense?
Oh, I would immediately.
Absolutely. That's what I mean by justice-oriented.
Yeah.
They can't
the
stand
It's
the...
like a good righteousness.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever word you want to use, but because righteousness, you think of the Bible, and I don't mean it that way. But
No, I know.
There's an integrity, a loyal integrity, ethics, whatever you want to use, But so, one thing that I know that you talk about a lot is not medicating.
Ah, yes.
So please go about that because this is huge. I mean, every day almost I see ads and I see, when I'm doing my daily work on the computer and stuff, I see ads for drugs for ADD and it's like, stop.
Okay, so let's go back and let's put this in some historic thing. And here we're actually going to touch some money principles.
Good, because that's what this is about.
This is about.
I mean, and this is wonderful because it's all one. It's all one. Anyway, it's all part of this. It's all integral.
Well, yes. And as you and I have had discussed on many times, that there's a lot more to the concept of wealth than just money.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so this is a wealth of gifts and talents and potential that is getting horribly handicapped by people who are making money off doing so.
Oh, the drugs companies, the pharmaceuticals.
It's not just the pharmaceuticals, though they're a player, but it's not just the pharmaceuticals. There are huge money cycles around this.
Won't you please?
And you have to understand that.
What
So,
are you saying?
well, part of it is if your child gets labeled with ADHD, then you get able to pick up some SSI special funding and services.
Oh.
So the family gets money. If the school registers they have an ADHD child, they get money. Then there are extra services that are getting
goodness.
paid money.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah, right.
Okay. So, and then if they get on prescriptions, and this is part of it, this is where we look at it. You know, I'm not saying that I am advocating a mummy-daddy government. In fact, I have a lot of very strong feelings the other way. I don't want a mummy-daddy government. But right now we're stuck with a mummy-daddy government. And it wouldn't be quite so bad to have a government that's trying to act as your parents if they did it well, if they were at least good at the job. But they're not. They're horrible at the job because they're horribly corrupt, and their ethics, morals, and guiding values are for sale on a street corner like they travel with a red light over their head all the time. And so the other thing is that last year, over $300 million through lobbyists went from big pharma into Congress pockets. And so now, your doctor labels your child. You register the label, and SSI comes in and says, well, we're going to give you extra benefits, extra money, blah, 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 blah. But if the doctor recommended a prescription and you don't get that prescription, and there is evidence that you're giving your child that medication, you can lose that money. Now, these medications have horrible side effects. We get presented information by research labs that are underwritten by the drug companies. We have places.
Corruption.
There was a scandal about 18 months ago or so where in Australia they actually threw out the how they were looking at ADHD and some of the findings that they were used based on a Harvard study when they found out that the study had been completely underwritten by the drug company. And they have the control over the information.
Wow.
We get what they want us to hear. You know, when
Wake up, humanity.
Wake up.
Wake up.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, some of these things I've heard, but not to this extent. And this is a major wake-up call because there are natural ways to deal with ADHD without putting money in the pharmaceutical company's pocket.
Well, and the other thing is, and this is where we get back to, you know, as an evolutionary process, you raised a child, right? That child went through growth spurts. There were times when they were awkward. There were times they fell over their own feet
between 14 and 18, where did ship them off to another planet?
Well, in England, it's quite popular to, at 14, you put them in private schools and you pick them up at 18.
Yes.
Kiss him, hug him, pat him on the head, and send him to uni.
It's like, what alien came into my child? But that's just part of the evolutionary process.
Well,
and the physical are not together until like 25 or 28. Dr. Grace is 28, but I've heard 25.
yeah, and I
Depends,
actually
but around that time.
Yeah, I actually teach 29.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's our first cycle.
Yeah.
But no, what I'm talking about is that, you know, suddenly they'll go through a growth spurt and actually their arms don't seem to fit their legs, or they physically trip over themselves,
Yeah,
or,
right,
you know,
right,
it goes.
right, yeah.
So we have this evolutionary process, and yeah, is it going to have its bumps? Absolutely. Is it going to,
That's
you know?
life.
Yeah. But the first thing we have to do is we have to look and see, and this is what I call, you know, taking it from gift to curse in less than 60 seconds. And that's the list of things that exacerbate the ADHD to become unmanageable and to become the screenshots that we see on the commercials. And this thing we got. Now, I may have parents out there that are listening to this and they go, you don't know. I've tried everything with my child. I'm going to challenge that. 9 times out of 10, everything is, I tried a few supplements. I temporarily tried a diet change.
But it's not a temporary fix.
No.
It's a persistent,
It-
long-term.
It's a
Hello?
lifetime thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lifetime. If
Our time is coming down.
oh no, are we really already coming to the end?
Oh my God.
Okay.
We have about 7 minutes left.
Okay. So I'm going to do so.
I don't want to cut you off, Kevin, because this is such wonderful information.
Well, what I'm going to do is I am going to tell you, to your listeners, mydrkevin.com, MYDRKEVIN. Come there, because ADHD is one of several platforms I speak on, but there's a ton of information there for parents, and I have an app coming out in August called Managing the Gift, where parents will be able to literally go in, get information. The app is free, and then if they choose, they can actually get a report called Paint Your Child's Portrait, which they identify after answering 12 questions. They identify their child as one of the shades on the Dr. Kevin rainbow. And there's 64 shades on the rainbow. And this app will generate out over 9,000 unique reports.
That's a little overwhelming right there in itself, though.
So, 17 to 19 pages of help that is about your child. That's been brought down, down to a level that is deeper than anything I can find out there that is in this format. And it comes,
right there, that's wonderful.
When my first book, Managing the Gift: Alternative Approaches for Attention Deficit Disorder, came out in 2000, and I was interviewed by an author, by a reporter, he actually referred to me as having the owner's manual for the ADD brain.
Yeah.
And understanding how it works. So now I'm going to go and I want to do a quick, really here, and again, if people come to our website, I've got a couple of books, DVDs, CDs out on it, but I'm going to do a quick little money thing here.
Oh, good.
I'm going to put it in, I'm going to sneak it in right in the end.
All right,
Okay.
perfect timing.
So here's the story. A lot of times, unless there have been things which have misshapen them to really feel like somehow that if they get the golden brass of money as a way to prove that they're not broken, a lot of times money is not a reward or a punishment for an ADHD brain. An ADHD brain, it's about experience.
Yes.
It's about the education. It's about the understanding, the learning, the growing.
And sharing and teaching.
And sharing and teaching,
yes.
yeah. So they tend to not fall into traditional money ideas. Now, of course, they're going to be influenced like we all were by our childhood and the experience, and if they were really negatively impacted by something that was important to them because there was no money. But a lot of time, it is the thrill of the experience, like the salesman, and money is just a way to keep track of it. Because ADHD people can be, can be fabulous salespeople or teachers. Because it's so funny. One of the most successful ways to sell is to sell through teaching.
Yes.
And so it's really about, again, it's about understanding. It's it depends on where it goes. And just like you have your ADHD people that are more athletic, like your Michael Phelps, you have your ones that are more humanitarian.
Yeah.
You have ones that are more into the computers and the stuff like this. So I've identified some groupings, which actually is not in either one of my current books, but will be in my next one. But some groupings of different things. And so, but here's the money piece. Money, a lot of times, is a hard thing for them to grasp because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that we have so many mixed messages about money and the value and how we value things and how some things get valued and why should something get valued in that way. And so it's confusing to the ADHD brain because the ADHD brain is always looking for justice, and it's a natural born rebel, and it's very empathetic, and it's out there, and it's kind of looking, and it has a hard time really taking in and getting the idea that something, and I'm not using this I'm using this as an example, but I think it's a good one of, paying really good teachers $40,000 a year, and somebody who is a drug abusing, spousing abusing, cheating, lying slime $4 million a year because they can bounce a basketball.
Yeah.
you know?
Well,
And
the value structure is off, is out of balance. It's out of balance there. Yeah.
the value structure today is a representation of the imbalance and the inequity within people who do not truly understand the concept of power, who are in power and misuse that power and need to not be allowed to stay there.
Wake up!
It's time we woke up
Wake up!
and take back that we were born, not only as Lady Gaga says, that we were born this way, but that we were born perfect in being born this way. And we have to stop drinking the Kool-Aid and letting ourselves be convinced we're second-class citizens, we're not as good, that we somehow are broken or deficient, and allowing this small group of people who are in power to pass the ball back and forth between each other at the price of us.
Whew.
In other words, the U.S.
Yes, yes, of course. And that's part of my mission, to bring all the wake up, wake up. So, thank you
You're
for
welcome.
sharing. And boy, did you finish with a wake up call. I really appreciate you coming on, and I wish we had more time.
Well, you know what?
You have to come back.
We'll just have to do it again.
Yes, and you'll even have more information to share.
Yeah, plus the 90% of that I didn't get to.
I know. This could go on for hours, actually, but
Yeah.
we only have a certain time frame, and I had to reel it in, and I'm sorry. I didn't want to do that, but the information you shared was really valuable, and I really appreciate it.
Well, again, thank you for having me.
Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So, who out there is ready to wake up and walk with Dr. Cheryl?
Oh, thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste to you. Leave you with this. The soul's journey, the higher self, is our other guide who waits patiently while we journey into the illusion with the ego until we are ready to hear the truth. It is through the gentle whispers of the higher self that we wake up bit by bit until we finally remember who we are. That's what transformation and enlightenment are. It is not the work that kills men, it is worry. Work is healthy. You can hardly put more on a man than he can bear, but worry is rust upon the blade. It is not movement that destroys the machinery, but friction. Never give up on your pursuit of your purpose and passion. And even if you don't know what that is, work with integrity and have a positive attitude wherever you work, and especially with your family and friends. Be grateful for what you have, who you are, and be grateful for your freedom, and eat healthy. Good nutrition feeds the mind and your body temple. And don't forget, exercise, move your body, feed your spirituality with meditation and prayer, with unconditional love. And firstly, love yourself unconditionally and share your abundance and wealth with others. Thanks for watching. Please support Marin TV that brings these messages. And remember, when fear knocks, let faith answer the door. Bye for now. Until next time.